Dear Professor Anderson, for my profile, I chose an event that was a 1 in a million chance. I decided to profile the time when my best friend saved my other best friend's life by giving him CPR. This incident is important because it has emotional significance to me because I live with the survivor as my roommate. My primary purpose is to inform people of how anyone can suffer from cardiac arrest out of nowhere. As well, I wanted to encourage students to become CPR certified on campus because it can help save a life. People at college don't live the healthiest lifestyle, and we all think that we are invincible. I wanted to tell a story of how life can change so quickly without ever doing anything wrong. I believe that the information in this narrative will open up many people's eyes to the benefits of CPR. My audience for this profile is the 4th floor of Martin Hall because I surveyed their knowledge of CPR as well as their lifestyle. I chose these strategies because I wanted to encourage them to get a CPR lesson from EMS at the University Health Center. I chose to write my profile in a narrative argumentative style. I did mostly narrative in the beginning because setting the foundations of the story and what happened to Parker on that day helped put everything in context. As well, the message of becoming CPR certified would be out of place if I didn't tell why it is so important to people. I wanted to make people feel the impact of that day by detailing how it happened so rapidly. As well, I wanted to show that the effects of cardiac arrest can last a lifetime and how much of a miracle Parker truly is. I decided to add pictures as my main descriptive strategy, as the emotional weight of the situation cannot be portrayed by simple words. Furthermore, I chose to interview both Parker and Walter for this profile because their first-hand accounts make the story more vivid. I detailed how Parker was covered in a jungle of wires and how we all felt during the entire process. I wanted to try and explain the worry that was on my mind when I wasn't able to know how he was doing. At the end of the essay, I switched to a loose argumentative style to help further my objective. I interviewed J. David Jones, the manager of EMS at Pennsylvania State University, because he is credible and tells how people should become certified. He states EMS teaches a class here at University Health Center. You can also schedule a session for your floor where students will come teach you. As well, I surveyed my floor on their CPR and health knowledge because I wanted to inform my audience how they can improve their lifestyle by taking a CPR lesson. The miraculous recovery and revival of Parker by his best friend because of the one class they took together makes this a hidden gem. My main focus throughout the profile is to inspire readers through vivid description and narration of Parker's journey. I wanted to show his struggle of being in a coma for 48 hours. I used an argumentative style at the end of the profile because I wanted to show the statistics of the people on my floor. I also used statistics near the end of the profile because it helped further support the need for CPR approval. The interview with J. Jones, the anecdotes from both Parker and Walter, and the analytics from Martin Hall show the importance of CPR certification. Sincerely, Joel Burnett. 356,461 people suffer from cardiac arrest every year. 320,815 died because of cardiac arrest, and my best friend was almost one of them. It was the first day of school freshman year at Peters Township High School, and I was unsurprisingly blessed to have personal wellness as my first period class with Mrs. Corbin. The usual first day butterflies were replaced by warm calmness as I sat down next to my two best friends from middle school, Parker Lewis and Walter Varani. We sat near the rear of the classroom all year as we learned the dangers of smoking, too many hamburgers, and procrastination. It was the last week of class for the semester, and to pass the course, you have to complete CPR certification. Cardiopulmonary resuscitation is the manual application of chest compressions and ventilations to patients in cardiac arrest, done in an effort to maintain viability until advanced help arrives, stated Mrs. Corbin as she read the definition of key aspects of CPR from our textbook verbatim. We only started to pay attention when she pulled out the automated external defibrillator, the device used to revive people suffering from cardiac arrest, because the class thought she was going to do a live presentation. At the time, I didn't even know the difference between a heart attack and a cardiac arrest. We watched the hilarious and unhelpful episode of The Office on CPR to help understand how to do the proper steps and did live demonstrations on a dummy. Our week was filled with laughs as we humorously breathed wet spit into the mouths of the severed bodies. Parker stated, "Personal wellness was a great class. It wasn't stressful at all." We all somehow successfully passed the certification and moved on to the next classes for the following semester. It was the beginning of sophomore year, and I wasn't as lucky this time around, as we were all fractured into different classes without each other. We still found time during the weekends to go ride scooters and hoverboards. On October 15, 2016, Walter and Parker went to South Park Skate Park early in the morning, as it was only a 10-minute drive, and if you arrived early to the park, then the parking lot would be desolate. They did tail whips, bar spins, and air outs once they hit the cement. They took a well-needed break on the bleachers. Suddenly, Parker uttered his possible final breath. I think my heart just stopped. Walter describes him collapsing and smashing his head on the steel. I thought he was just pulling my leg, but when I saw him drop his phone from the top of the bleachers, I knew it was real. Walter scrambled to the corpse and began giving him CPR. He desperately attempted to push away the cold, lifeless blue from his lips and his nose. He sat there on his knees for 12 minutes waiting for help to arrive. The EMTs burst onto the scene and started using the defibrillator. Walter explained, I sat there and couldn't help but watch them rip his shirt off his body and shock him and fail. They tried 6 times for 10 minutes with no results until he was brought back to life on the 7th try. Parker was 1 shock away from being declared deceased. The medics life-flighted him to UPMC Children's Hospital. The doctors decided that the best way to prevent his death was to put him in a semi-induced coma for 48 hours. Rod Berhard, an EMT paramedic and author of Life's Little Emergencies, stated, persons in a coma for 12 hours or more will usually experience lasting motor, sensory, and intellectual defects. Recovery will often be incomplete and slow, on the order to weeks to months. The battle for Parker's life was over, but the war of recovery was not. He was tangled in a thick jungle of wires and tubes that constantly gave him the necessary treatments to survive. There was radio silence for a week as we were all worried that he wouldn't be the same friend that we called family once he awoke. I would stay up every night hoping that our half-decade of friendship didn't vanish in an instant. On October 22nd, all of his friends chose to visit him in the ICU. We packed in the elevator like sardines and journeyed down the frigid hallway. Luckily, we were met by a smiling face and warm hugs from a fully recovered and awake Parker. When the group prodded about the incident, he explained, yeah, it was a random event. The doctor said there was nothing wrong with me, and I should be all good in a week or so. But look what they gave me. He pointed at his massive defibrillator they put on his heart. We all gracefully placed our hands over his heart as this moment tied us together forever. They kept him there for the next week while they did constant tests and examinations on him like a rat. The results were inconclusive, and the doctors were unable to find the true cause of his dilemma. When Parker came back to high school, our entire class gathered for an assembly to honor Walter and all the EMTs that helped save Parker's life. I sat by our friends in the front row next to the media as the Allegheny Police presented Walter with the Civilian Service Award. People from KDKA news station and neighboring schools such as Upper St. Clair came to hear a hometown hero story. At the podium, Parker stated, we'll be talking about it forever, and our friendship will last forever. The vibrations from the microphone shook my heart that day and every day for the rest of my life. Their friendship became linked forever when they got matching tattoos, so they would never be separated from each other. 3 years later, Parker Lewis is majoring in computer engineering at the Pennsylvania State University and lives in Martin Hall. A hidden survivor has to remind me now to wake up every morning and not to be late for class. Parker says, nobody ever knows that I had cardiac arrest here. Parker walks around campus every day as a normal student, will carry around the hidden aftermath of the incident almost 3 years ago. I surveyed the people on the 4th floor of Martin Hall on their diet, social life, and experience in CPR. Overall, 64.5% of students said they would be unable to do CPR. This percentage can be assumed to be even lower because the question didn't ask if they were certified. As well, 59.1% stated that they had a poor diet, and 45.2% said they smoke regularly. These indicators show a high percentage of decisions that could lead to heart complications. Since the incident, Parker has maintained a healthy diet to help avoid complications with his heart. As well, most people do not know the difference between a heart attack and cardiac arrest. The easiest way to describe it is a heart attack is a circulation problem, while cardiac arrest is an electrical problem. If someone has a heart attack, blood flow to the heart is physically blocked by a clogged or narrow artery. People should know the discrepancy between these two diseases because it could lead to saving a life. A person must first locate a pulse for a cardiac arrest victim, but there may not be an absence of a beat with a heart attack. Most people are blinded by their optimism that what happened to Parker is impossible to happen to them because it is common around older individuals. I interviewed J. David Jones, Emergency Medical Service Manager at the Pennsylvania State University, who has been working in this field for over 23 years. He explained, "We get occasional calls for cardiac arrest on campus. Not in the semester, but in the spring, we received several calls." He further detailed that the victim would be sent to Hershey, PA for open heart surgery if needed. I asked how students should go about being CPR certified. He clarified, EMS actually teaches a class here at University Health Center. You can also schedule a session for your floor where students will come teach you. This section at University Health Center is in the basement. Therefore, many people are unaware of EMS and what they're willing to do for their students. CPR certification is a free test and it can take some time to complete, but the possible life-saving rewards are endless. They encourage students to schedule lessons for certification as they are flexible and can teach your entire floor. Every day, Parker wakes up and says, "You have one life. It is your first life, last life, and your only chance to show who you truly are." Everyone needs to be aware that the life that they have in front of them is a gift and that they should cherish it because the enjoyment can be gone in an instant. One of those 320,815 people could be a fellow Nittany Lion, parent, loved one, friend, neighbor, or stranger, and all it takes is one test to save their life.